After the major restoration project that we had completed, I was preparing to spend the first night in my old but magnificent mansion, famous for its wooden floors and ceiling decorations. Your house was abandoned as a result of a fire many years ago, but now I wanted to bring life to it. His silence made her feel like a rare treasure in the northern seaside town outside the town. I was going to be on my own at work, and I was looking forward to being alone with this silence. The first night, after having dinner at home, I studied historical documents. I could hear the wind howling outside and the windows flapping. The silence was a beautiful experience, but my dreams were filled with nightmares haunted by burning human figures. The second night, I slept under the great hall in the ceiling of the house. My dreams again filled me with terror. The figures I saw now seemed like the ghosts of those who had lived in the house's past. When I woke up, I couldn't find any symptoms. On the third night, I noticed that something was strange in my room. Someone, the fading of his skin on the shelves of the bookcase, seemed to have mysteriously reversed. One of the shelves started to shake, and suddenly it looked like it had fallen out. But there was no wind. On the fourth night, I became more immersed in historical documents before going to bed. I discovered that the house had once been a mental hospital, and that most of the patients treated here had died. The reason for my dreams at home was clear, but I still couldn't find a logical explanation. On the fifth night, I felt human figures approaching me in my dreams. I woke up with my eyes and saw a figure in the corner of my room. She was like a transparent being, but her eyes resembled my last look before my death. Finally, I realized that the figure was trying to make a communication. He nodded slightly and disappeared decently among the historical documents. I examined the document and found a diary page there, on which was written the name of the figure. There was a story of a person in the diary, which was written with the name of the figure. He wrote that he pretended to lose himself and lost his soul as a result of the tortures in the mental hospital. Finally, the figure's message was, "Can you break the curse inside the house?" And then he quietly disappeared. At this moment, silence suddenly reigned in the room. There was silence and peace inside the house once again. There were no ghosts of anyone anymore, but the silence of the house and the bitter memories of its history were still with me. During my university years, I used to stay alone in my grandmother's old mansion to spend the summer holidays. The ceiling decorations and antique items of this old mansion were the scene of unforgettable memories of my childhood, but every time the dark hours approached, I could not help the stories of the historical ghosts of the mansion from circulating in my mind. One summer evening, I was at one of the times when my grandmother left me to be alone in the mansion. In addition to cooking well, my grandmother, who also likes to collect antiques, had filled this house with all kinds of mysterious items and historical documents. Every time I would enjoy searching for hidden corridors and forgotten rooms inside the mansion. But tonight was different. When I entered, I felt a strangeness in the atmosphere of the mansion. There was a silence in the house that I had never experienced before. Usually, at these times, the clatter of my grandmother's washing machine or the barking of her dog would ring in my ears, but tonight there was no sound at all. After eating dinner, I began to review the historical documents of the mansion. My grandmother's memories and family history were in a closet filled with pages and pages of documents. However, an antique candlestick that fell on one page attracted my attention, a strange symbol that appeared on another page. The symbol was also repeated in the ceiling decorations of the house and in the engravings on the door entrance. This mysterious symbol aroused a certain something in him at that moment, and in an instant, I found myself moving towards a closed room in the corner. When I opened the door, I felt a light wind coming in. The room was empty. There was only one candlestick, and the candles of that candlestick were burning. I took the candlestick in my hand and suddenly shone a light on a historical painting on the wall. In the picture, there was a portrait of a woman who was the first owner of the mansion. The woman's eyes seemed to be watching me. Suddenly, I found myself in the middle of a strange feeling all over the house. Silence surrounded me, and my eyes scratched in every corner of the mansion. The portrait indeed seemed to be moving. The woman took her steps through the painting and picked up the candlestick. "You released me. Thank you," he said, and went back to the corner of the room. Suddenly, a strange beam of light appeared in the room, and the woman disappeared into the picture. The sounds returned. The barking of the dog and the clattering of the washing machine began to be heard again. After that moment, I continued to live every night in my grandmother's decrepit mansion among historical ghosts and silence. The mysteries and ghosts inside this mansion continue to live with me like parts of a charmed world. Sarah, who lives in a quiet beach town in Florida, was left alone after her family went to the city for the holidays. The silence of the house and the rustle of the sea seemed to him a way of peace and relaxation. But this silence was hiding a terrible secret. The first night, Sarah was having a quiet evening. But slowly, he began to hear a strange sound breaking the silence of the night. At first, he thought it was caused by the wind, but the sounds continued to increase. On the second night, while sleeping in bed, he encountered a strange being. The room was lit up with a strange light, and a shadow appeared in the corner of the room. The shadow quickly approached and then disappeared. Sarah woke up in a fright. On the third night, Sarah decided to investigate strange noises inside the house. He found a passage, and the passage was leading to an old basement. The basement was full of old objects and strange symbols. He tried to decipher the meaning of the symbols. On the fourth night, Sarah found an old diary in the basement. The diary was giving information about the lives and strange rituals of the previous owners of the house. Sarah wanted to solve the secrets of the past. On the fifth night, Sarah followed the clues of the diary and performed the old rituals inside the house. But these rituals released strange beings who lived in the house. The beings followed him and left strange symbols inside the house. Eventually, Sarah managed to unravel the secrets of the former owners and imprisoned the strange beings back in the cellar. But this terrible experience at home would stay with him. The quiet coastal town of Florida had now turned into a new beginning for him, but the terrible evenings he lived at home remained a memory that he would never forget.